Good morning, everyone. Today is July the 16th. My name is Anne-Marie Band, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. We're looking at spot. My apologies yesterday about leaving the YM out. I guess the RTY sort of shoved its way into my brain and did not leave. So let's take a look at SPY. Here we have this range, and you can see it on the volume profile, and then this range, we're trying to build a new profile. We have earnings continuing. We are still seeing higher lows and higher highs in the SPY here, and so the pullbacks ought to be buy zones. So what might that look like? Well, yesterday's VWAP close was actually the day before yesterday's 558. I'll put it there, and that line is going to be a nice pullback zone for traders to start to buy. Now, here's the thing. We can go to the 30-minute chart and look at our volatility bands, and we can see, hey, why not look at the low right there, 558.93, and say, all right, maybe we're caught in this range. I'll wait for it to pull back, at least into the second volatility band. Try it there, and if it bounces and it cannot get over the point of control, which is the pink line, we've got an upside VWAP, so we're expecting it to breach that area. If we can't, then we take our profit and we wait for it to slip down in here, or we look for a failed retest at the point of control and we take a short. But that's how we will move in on the tighter frames to see what's going on. Levels above, still the prior high of yesterday, 564. If you want to draw a little Fibonacci, I'm not going to lead this one on because it's too noisy, and we do the range, we see that the 1618 is about 571. And so, maybe that's 570 easily a place to go. And of course, we know 565 is kind of a round number, and we do have a tendency to see those round numbers. But pullbacks are buy zones. So this is green, and we're moving up. Pullbacks are buy zones. The 1618 is 561. Are we above the close of the prior day? Yes. Have the prior days given us higher lows and higher highs? Yes. In general, that means buy the dip. Okay? If it gets fierce and you get stopped out, step out of the way and wait and recalibrate what the market is telling you. All right, here are the ranges. This area, volume point of control, the region between 474 and 486, right? That's 12 points of motion. And now we have 486 to 503, right? So that's almost 20 points of motion. And so prices are still expanding, but we have a rotation going on. So my suspicion is that this 505 might stay as the high in the recent formation. So when will I be wrong? When it breaks that high, right? What am I looking for? I'm still buying the dip. My simple moving average up, so I know it's dip buying. I'm making higher lows and higher highs, trying to climb this wall of worry candlestick and bumping into the value area high. My thought is, if it breaches into yesterday, take a look at this. See how it breaks out right there? My thought is if it gets past 499.76, it's going to break all the way out and try to head back to the prior high at 505. Right? That's the zone that we are looking at. Deep support, 490, great place to buy it. Otherwise, you got to be patient. and watch your risk. That's really absolutely key right now. Okay, so what are we looking at? Range formation that occurred between 54.97 and 55.80, thereabouts. Really, the range was all the way here at 55.58, but this big wick might have brought a lot of people long and then collapsed on them. The point of control, 55.37, price action moving up, moving average, very linear, straight up. Look at the momentum, price by trend, straight up. It means what? Pullbacks are going to be buy zones. Notice the wicks. There are people selling up here. They are taking profit up here. And so we must do the same. If we buy the dip could be as little as 56.84 or as much as 56.57. And so I'm going to move that 57 area, and we can watch that. A break above 57.18 gives us a brand new high opportunity, and of course we will go to 57.25 and then 57.49 and then potentially 57.60. Let's take a look at the NQ. This is the one that I think is a little bit toppy because of these wicks sitting at the top, giving us higher highs, but selling off. And so we know that people are using the top edges of price action as exit liquidity. They're using it to clear their inventory in this kind of space for now. That's what these wicks are telling us. So, is it still a buy zone? Absolutely. Where would we want to do it? Here is the prior VWAP. That's at 20,512. Might not come in that low. And where might we look for giving up and turning around short? That would be somewhere around 20,800, all the way up to the value area high at 20,900. All right, so dips or buy zones. Could the dips be bigger? Yes, if it breaks the line of supports that we're looking at here at 512, get out of the way and watch for the daily formations that bring us down to the wicks that tell us that people are ready to buy. And that wick event happened 2 days ago, and it was 20,329. All right? Yes, YM. I shall not forget her. Here's the YM. The bars have been incredibly interesting to me. This is very, very, very interesting to me. A lot of buying pressure up here. We are above the close of the prior day. Yeah. 561. Yes, just by a wee bit. We've already breached higher. This is in breakout, right? If I take a look at a Fibonacci that covers, oh, I did do that. Let's go to the weeklies. Take a look at this. I have a monthly Fibonacci way down here. We talked about those yesterday. Here's the weekly wave that we just completed, and heavy congestion. We broke out, pulled back, and now well above the close of last week, right? So this Dow is still marching higher. You can tell folks are drifting into big caps. I think they're doing it for safety, okay? But this is clearly a buy the dip formation. We are very far from the moving average, and every time we've spiked away from it, we faded right into it. So the question is, how can I trade the fade here if everything looks bullish? My thought is the following. The volume by trend is now sideways. And so that tells me that big spikes up aren't going with a lot of pressure. Pullback looks good. If we lose the high of this candlestick, which is 40,358, look for a topping formation to see if this is going to give us a fade. If you want to be even more dramatic, look at the high of the prior day, 40,572, and we can see that we're under it right now, but we need to see a topping formation develop here. And so it would look like this: sideways, 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 moved all the way down. Obviously, Europe and Asia had quite an effect on the motion overall. We want to look at a failed retest of round and about this 624, right? Topping here and then topping here. The value area high, 40,600. I say if it loses that zone, if it pops up and then loses the zone, we've got ourselves a nice short in the YM. All right, taking a look at oil. Listen, oil's doing exactly what I thought it would. I mean, just exactly. So here we are, resistance, 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 that turns to support. Guess what folks are going to be doing at this 50% Fibonacci? They're going to try to buy it. They are. They're going to try to buy it. Here's the problem. See this? This trend action says it could collapse very far below before bouncing. Now, if it bounces here, it will take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days of motion and completely go, I don't care. So I suspect that this zone right near 79.45 going to be the spot to try and get along. I like the long here, but only into the POC, the point of control. Why? Because the VWAP is down. All right, lastly, gold. Very big, look at this, basing, collection of a ton of value. If we break out of this zone, I mean, this thing's going to run. It's going to run like a scalded dog, as they say in the South. So I suspect that it won't run in the near term. It's going to come back down and sit in the range. I suspect that 2450 to 2460, probably the top end here, and then it's going to start to get wiggly and slow down. So looking for a topping formation here in gold. All right, everybody, take care, and I'll see you on the streams.